All right, so the big update, the big development everybody was waiting for, the landmark FTA deal has been signed between both the leaders. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Keir Starmer signed the free trade agreement. Rishabh continues to be with us on the broadcast. Rishabh, we were just discussing the significance. Well, the moment is here. The landmark deal has been signed.
Well, sorry, definitely the landmark deal, the free trade agreement between India and United Kingdom is now in force. It has been signed in presence of the Prime Ministers of both India and United Kingdom. And what we are given to understand now that from here on, in the next 1 year for that matter, the legal scrubbing, the ratification and other formal processes will take place before it comes into effect. We'll have an in effect date very soon, given that now it has been formally signed between the two countries. It is a sealed deal is what we are given to understand. The cabinet will look at it, the legal scrubbing will take place, the ratification will happen from here on.
Yes.
So another 8 to 12 months is what we are given to understand the timeline for this deal to come in effect between the two countries. But having said that, the major part, this FTA will lay ground for the FTA that India will negotiate with the European Union, as well as it will have its shadows on the bilateral trade agreement between India and US as well. India will showcase this very FTA on various issues to show that
Absolutely.
This is what
it will
we have
boost
negotiated
trade. It will
on.
also reduce the barriers, trade barriers. Rishabh, stay on with us. Let's go back to Srinjoy. There's a lengthy process ahead of us as far as implementation is concerned, but I believe immediately after the signing, there will be a statement from both the leaders.
Yes, undoubtedly. Of course, there will be a statement, a statement by both prime ministers. That, of course, is a given, but it's a very important first for Britain as much as India, because Britain stands to benefit enormously from it. Let's not forget that Britain faces severe economic problems, a result of some decisions taken by the previous government. There were 5 prime ministers, some of whom made slightly odd decisions which affected Britain and the British pound to a very strong extent. Now, there is an effort to put the toothpaste back into the tube. So that's one effort. India will benefit enormously because Indian consumers will buy British products at a much cheaper rate. And that's something that will help everyone, whether it's cars, whether it's other things. British goods will become cheaper. And importantly, it will create goodwill between the two countries, which will help other processes like visas, like immigration, things like that could well become much easier in the future, because this is not an end. This is a beginning in many ways.
Absolutely. A beginning in many ways. Rishabh is also with us on the broadcast. Rishabh, and this is the biggest deal ever. If you talk about the free trade agreement between both the countries, like we were saying, it will bring down or at least reduce trade barriers, boosting trade for both nations.
Swati, if you can come again, your voice was a bit breaking.
Well, we were just discussing the significance of this, how, there'll be an impact on trade tariffs. Trade barriers would come down. It would boost trade between both the nations.
Well, Swati, if we talk about the free trade agreement that has just been signed officially between the two countries, how will this make a change? See, there is one bully sitting in Washington who is trying to ensure that everyone agrees to his logic, everyone falls in line with what he toes want. With these trade agreements, say India, UK or India, EU agreement, or for that matter, if we have agreements with other big economies, if there is an agreement between India and China for that matter, India and Russia for that matter, this will, at least limit this will limit United States as well to toe a line with in accordance with others as well. Right now, what Washington believe is that, the business that the United States is giving to the other country is paramount, and everyone will end up falling in line sooner or later. But these FTAs, it is not a small FTA for that matter. India and UK do have a great deal of trade between the two countries. This will go up by 35 billion is what we are given to understand, given the free trade agreement has been signed. So if countries like India, countries like China or Japan, or for that matter European Union or South Africa or European countries in general start signing these FTAs and start making a bilateral trade agreements, this will also affect the Washington and its stance, the strong stance that it has taken, that either you fall in line with us or else we will do what we want. We'll slap tariff. In case of China, they went up to what, 240% or so. So that is something that is very important. That is the reason that this FTA is very, very important. It will not only lay ground for the future FTAs, but this will it is, as colleague Sanjoy was also pointing out, this is a beginning, a new beginning that India and UK has signed. It will go a long way in other bilateral relationships as well.
Well, this is India's first major FTA in over 10 years. Srinjoy is also with us on the broadcast, and this, of course, unlocks investment opportunities and gives India market access, more market access.
Yes, undoubtedly, there will be more market access. There will be more goods going out of India and selling in the West, in Britain particularly, and that's a really big thing for exporters. So all the Indian goods that will go to Britain will be cheaper. So that will be a bigger market. They will sell more. It will help Indians. And when British goods are imported, let's put it as simply as possible, then those goods will be cheaper. It will help Indian consumers. Now that is something that benefits both sides. It's mutually beneficial. If tariff rates are coming down from 15 to 3%, then very clearly both countries will benefit.
All right. We have Sumita joining us on the broadcast. Sumita, if you can break down the information in terms of how will India benefit. Let's focus on that first.
Absolutely, Swati. So this is a mega push that's been given the fact that both sides have now been able to sign this deal. The deal came up, or rather got concluded in May this year, but now it's been formally signed and being put into action. Now, bilateral trade between the two countries, that is expected to increase from $60 billion to $120 billion by 2030. At least that's what the leadership is aiming at. And of course, in that vision, in that direction, this is an important landmark deal, given the fact that the UK and India have significant partnership that's spanning across technology, energy, defense, semiconductors, quantum computing, etc. But let's now come to the benefits. Of course, as Srinjoy was mentioning, there's going to be a big help in people-to-people movement. UK can, of course, access a large pool of India's domestic market. Remember, that's been a key to India's growth story, and the fact that many countries are now looking at doing an FTA with India. There's, of course, growth expected in IT and IT-enabled services, and of course, most importantly, there'll be an exception in paying social security contributions. Other than that, if you look at the fine print of this deal, about 99% of Indian goods will not be tariffed in the UK, and that's pretty significant given the fact that we are having parallel discussions with the United States as well for a mini deal where US is asking for concessions. But in this deal, this is simply very, very historic. Other than that, it will also help in increasing in employment in terms of sectors, leather, textile, apparel, exports of auto components. Other than that, cosmetics, soft drinks, engineering goods, chemicals and IT services, all of these are expected to benefit. So this is a huge boost that's being given. Other than that, important to also note that tariffs on autos, they were earlier pretty high. They have also come down from 100 to, in fact, 10%. In fact, tax on risky exports, that also was 150% earlier. That also comes down significantly. So this does send out a message to other countries, particularly to the United States, that India is not going to cross, or India is going to maintain those firm red lines in some of the sectors that it is sensitive about.
Right. Absolutely. Also, if you could help us understand how it will boost the labor-extensive exports. Let me, in fact, go across to Rishabh for more on that. In the coming days, as far as, exports are concerned, as far as trade is concerned and more access to market is concerned, India is set to benefit. That's what Sumita was telling us. Rishabh, can you hear me? Okay, all right. Let me, in fact, go back to Sumita. One other thing that should be talked about is social security agreement for the Indian workers in the UK, Sumita.
Absolutely, Swati. So if you look at these negotiations between the United Kingdom and India, they went on for close to 3 years. I mean, when the previous administration was present, and then of course, Prime Minister Keir Starmer got elected as Prime Minister, and those visa restrictions were a critical part of why the deal could not go through. But those have been eased, which essentially also means that there is an exemption on companies from paying social security contributions. This will, in a way, enable people-to-people movement as well, and of course, more of Indian workers can perhaps look at working in the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, while all the United Kingdom, like I said, India is a humongous market, and the UK, at the point that it is currently at with respect to its economy and economic growth, and of course the slowdown concerns that we've seen globally, worldwide, especially in the West, this becomes an important deal for them as well.
All right, Smita, thank you very much for getting us the details. Let me quickly also go across to Rishabh. Rishabh, the FTA is done. We are expecting a statement by both leaders. What next now?
Well, what next? Up next will be a delegation level talk as well, where you will have the Indian Foreign Minister, Indian National Security Advisor, and other members of the delegation from the Prime Minister's entourage will be sitting with their counterparts, and India will now put forward all the concerns that it has. Let it be the fugitives, let it be the Khalistan issue, let it be the racial attacks as well in certain pockets of United Kingdom. Also, the security of Indian diaspora that have been in a way jeopardized in past 5 to 6 years. We have seen instances where a diaspora from certain country has in a way identified and in a way also went after Indian diaspora. That is something that India is also going to discuss with the United Kingdom, that the security of Indian diaspora is very important. So Indian diaspora, mobility, defense, apart from that, education, social security, all this is on are on agenda a lot. And the statement that is going to come in from Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Keir Starmer, a lot will be clear from there. Also, the tone and tenure of this meeting will be clear from that statement as well. Interesting statement is something what we are expecting. Right. Reason that what will be mentioned. We know FTA has been signed.
Yes.
We knew it for quite some time.
Absolutely. Well, UK is already India's 6th largest foreign investor. And after FTA, it will open more investment opportunities, sectors like manufacturing, automobiles, and electric mobility. Thank you very much, Rishabh, for getting us the details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this. For the moment, we're slipping into a very short break.